still on the madness train. It's March Madness. And I just feel like my energy was mad low right there. I gotta get it together. I gotta get it together. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Daily Dose with Des. I am Des, and I feel like I said this on my last live stream. I haven't streamed in a while, so like I'm catching up with like the news. Y'all know I like to give y'all all of the news, the good news, the bad news, the in between, the messy tea, all of that. Now, I am not like some people where if I don't specifically or particularly like somebody, I don't really necessarily talk about them and bring them up. That's just not my thing, right? I understand though that there takes sometimes with me just reporting what's going on, reporting the news, right? Half the show is me reporting. The other half of the show is just me like just, talking. Hold on one second. Okay. So yeah. So half of it is like me really like dialing in. Oh. Well, this is what I did not expect. Coach Bender from Clemson is retiring. Okay. That threw me off. That threw me off. I'm sorry. Let me get back to it. But anyway, like I was saying, I don't particularly like talking about people that I don't actually like. I don't have that that crazy gene. And yeah, I'm calling it crazy, and my hair is like in my eye. I don't know if you guys can see it right now. It's like in my eyes. I'm trying to move it. Yeah, I call it the crazy gene because to me, if I don't like somebody, I'm not going to spend time really talking about them. So some news you probably will see like, and I don't want to come across as like bashing either. So I have to make sure that my head and my heart is clear before I can talk about certain topics and situations. So if I have skipped over something, and because I get asked about it sometimes, it's like it's not that I just skipped it because I didn't see it. I probably skipped it because my original reaction was probably not what I wanted to put out to the world. But that's just me. I'm not like everybody else. I'm very, very different, and y'all know that already. That's why y'all come over here. For the ones that come over here, and we are growing. So thank you so much for the people who have been over on YouTube watching the videos after the fact, watching the shorts. Those are doing so good right now. So thank you so much for that. You guys really make this worthwhile, honestly. And we're just growing. And I think because we're doing it organically, I'm not seeing the growth as fast as I want it to grow, but nevertheless, it is, I gotta stop hitting my stand where my thing is, but nevertheless, it is growing, and I'm super duper proud of it. And we're going to dive into some topics. We have the WNBA. We're going to talk about their new CBA deal. I know it's been all over the news already. I did already post on it, so it's not going to be nothing that's like severely long. We have to talk about March Madness and our brackets. Where we at? Okay. We got NFL news because, NFL was about to be right around the corner. It came and dropped on our head. The draft was almost here. And then we got a few other things to talk about in terms of like other news that is going on. It's just like who, what, when, where, why, how. Okay. But you know what I got to do? I got to walk in. I got to play my video. Thanks you guys for being here. Please make sure you like the video. Liking the video is free. Commenting whatever topic you want me to talk about next, or whatever you like, whatever you see, comment a thumbs up, a thumbs down, whatever you want to do. Okay, that's free to you. Make sure you're subscribed, and on all social media platforms at PG Love Sports. And I'll be back right after this. Admit it. Turn it up, turn it up, turn it loud. Got your feelings so proud. This is how we do it now. Daily Dose with Des. Got you coming back for more. Okay, diving in. All right, I was just talking a little too fast. I was doing too much. But let's start off with the WNBA. So you guys know the WNBA and the CBA have finally closing on their deal. It wasn't signed as of a few days ago, but they, verbally agreed finally. And at the end of the day, I had this discussion, really this argument with somebody that was like, they could have just stuck with unrivaled and things like that, and they didn't need the WNBA. And it's like, yeah, but they do. They both need each other. I don't know why we're pretending as if the WNBA does not need the women who actually make the WNBA what it is, and vice versa. This is their career. This is what they love. This is what a lot of them make their living off of. And yes, they have to do other things. And I think that's why the CBA deal was so super duper important. One, to have something in, longevity, to get paid and to get paid well, but also to increase their livelihood so that they don't have to maybe go play overseas, and they don't have to, the other leagues are not going to go away. But if it's 3-on-3 and 5, it's smaller numbers. And can it do well? Yes, we're not saying it's not going to do well, but it's going to take time. All of it takes time. The WNBA did not just pop up yesterday and start doing well. So they need each other. So I don't like the narrative of, oh, they didn't need them, Like, maybe not all of them, but some of them very well did. The women that are coming behind them also may need it. Like, we can't just say that nobody that plays in the WNBA needs the WNBA. If that was the case, it wouldn't be a league in the first place. Yes, other leagues are coming and they're building and they're growing. But at the end of the day, the W is what it is. And there are more than just the voices and the players that are fighting, that go to these negotiations and are doing it for each other. And that's why it's so important. And I'm going to stand on that hill. I don't care what nobody says. I'm standing on the hill. Okay? So I said what I said. But anyway, they've came to their 7-year agreement. So until 2032, and then it's going to start all over again. So within that 7-year period, obviously there's going to be growth within the sport. There are so many women now that I feel as though are helping to take the game to the next level. And really, we have to credit a lot of it to Caitlin Clark, as always, of doing, being a staple who is continuing to help grow the game. And there's a lot of players coming behind it. Hannah Hidalgo, when it's her time, she's going to continue to grow this game. Juju Watkins, continue to grow the game. Like, there's so many different ones. I'm just throwing names out the top of my head. But there's also up and coming stars like, what is her name? Oh my God, Barry from Louisville, Ashlyn Jackson from Duke, Taina Mayer coming from Duke. Like, there's so many different women right now who are superstars in their outright. Sarah Strong's, the People's Princess. Like, if you know, you know. So a lot of these women are coming in, and they are coming in with really strong and heavy fan bases that are going to continue to grow the game. Raven Johnson, Joyce, like, there's so many different women that are going to continue to grow this game that I feel like, because popularity is now out there, because social media is more involved, a lot of these athletes are getting, they're already having fan bases that they're just taking with them into the WNBA, and that's what's going to continue to make it grow. So it's going to grow within the next 7 years. So within that growth, obviously they want to see bigger numbers. They want to see all the things, all the revenue share, which are now going to get 20, rightfully up to maybe 20% of the revenue share. I know they did want 25 to 30%, so they didn't necessarily get that mark, but they did get it. Their super max is at 1.4 million. Salary caps are now at 7 million. Average salaries are going to be 600K coming in, coming in the base, like last year was like 300K. Minimum salaries are going to be 300K, but like last year that was like top of, of their salary. So a lot of the numbers are going to change. Obviously it's monumental because it's the first time that it happened, and that's quite obvious. I don't believe in, I don't believe in some of that stuff. I don't know. But the college draft is going to be on April 13th. The regular season is going to kick off on May the 8th. And now what they're saying is, y'all want to get paid more, you got to play longer. So there's a possibility that they're going to play until November the 21st, which is about a month or so after an extension. So, they're going to get their money worth. They're going to get their money's worth. The only thing that's going to run into it, the only thing that I've complained about this too, is that the W plays in the summer, and I get they're trying to fill in that sports gap when it's, NBA is not there right now. The NBA is just on break, but then you got football coming right around the corner because you'll have the draft, and then we'll go into OTAs and training camp and all that stuff. And a lot of people don't really care and watch that stuff on TV anyway. You got the summer league for the NBA, so you see all the G League guys, college kids, and all that stuff play. And then the W goes in there, and I wish there was a way to not really, hockey's still going on too, overlap it in some way. I don't know. I hate it when the W is playing when the actual NBA is playing, because then it just takes and it tugs your eyes. I really hope they get some better deals. Like, I don't watch Ion very much, but I would love if they could figure a way to get it on, one of these 10 streaming platforms that I have been forced to get, because now I have everything. So I would like to be able to turn on my Amazon Prime and see the game. Be able to click on it, have my option. I would like to be able to turn on HBO Max, because I was forced to get that, and turn it on and see the game. I hope they get better streaming deals within all of this. Caitlin, can we get something? Can we? Okay, all right. That's just my ask. That's just my ask. Because if you're going to force me to have 10 streaming platforms, there's no way that out of the 10 streaming platforms, the games aren't on one of those 10. And all day long. ESPN, can we get something on the website where it's just like where you can stream and have a library of it, where we can go back and access it anytime that we want to, for the ones that have like ESPN Plus, because we were forced to have that too. Did you guys know that Disney Plus is now taking Hulu away, and it's going to all be coupled into one? I don't know how I feel about that. It has something to do with WNBA, but I just thought about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have Disney Plus downloaded onto the TV. So now you're telling me I got to uninstall to reinstall. Too much. Same way I feel like I can't never find the game somewhere. So I need them to be on the streaming platforms, all 10. Okay? All 10. That's just what I feel. But, that's what's going on with the W. Them playing longer, I think what do you think? I think it'll be all right. It's not that much longer, for a month. More games. They're gonna have to play to get their pay. That's essentially what they said. So yeah. I want to take a moment for my shirt. This shirt, and I'm moving my mic out the way, but I'm gonna speak loud enough for it. But this shirt, pretty girls of sports, you see it? Yeah. I mean, my boobs is like taking it over. But my mama made this shirt for me. And she has a limited edition. She has limited stock. So if you want a shirt, slide into my DM and we can get you a shirt. Okay? All right. Moving on to continue to talk about why is it down here? To talk about basketball, we're going to move into what we're all here for. And that is, let me blow it up for a second so you can see it, and probably just cut myself out for a moment. Boom, our Sweet 16 for our men. Move this way a little bit. So the men's bracket is set. This is the Sweet 16 bracket for the men. I'm going to make it a little smaller so I don't have to fall out my chair. Boom, bazinga. So, men's Sweet 16. I like to think, I'm looking for my brackets when I wrote it down. I am pretty much right. Now, I do want to say, remember I said to y'all, BYU last year made me eat my words, and I should have stuck on what I said. Let me change, if I can change it a little bit. Let's change. There we go. Now I'm more on the screen. I should have stuck with what I said. Want to know why? Because BYU got cooked. They out. Where they at? Where they at? You know what I'm saying? I thought I wasn't a believer, and you know what? I'm going back to not being a believer. Okay? Maybe next year you'll change my mind. But right now, my mind is made up. I shouldn't have put them on my. See? That's on me. That's what I get. That's what I get. I don't know where I put my bracket at, y'all. Is it in here? I have 400 notebooks. It's not even funny. It's not even funny how many notebooks I got and where I got things going on. This is why I did the big board last year, because it was right behind me and I didn't have to really do anything. I didn't have to move that much or that far. Here we go. Now, let's see. In my Sweet 16. All right. I did tell you that Arkansas was going to be that team that I pretty much thought was going to make a good run. They got a really hard game ahead of them with Arizona. Arizona is looking like they're going to be the winners of the national championship. And I said that too. I said that. I was picking my winner to be Arizona. And they're doing it. But I really do like Arkansas at the same time. I feel like they have something special. They have one of the best freshmen there, forward guard. I like them. Okay. Now, Florida, Florida owe me an explanation. Cause, what? How did we get here? How did we get here? Florida. I should have known things were going downhill in the SEC tournament. That's when I should have known. But no. It was in Florida. We trust. Chomp, chomp, chomp. We trust. Not no more. We don't trust no more. You're done. Over. Okay? Now, compared to this, the Sweet 16 is Duke, St. John's, Michigan State, UConn, Iowa, Nebraska, Illinois, Houston, Arizona, Arkansas, Texas, Purdue, Michigan, Alabama, Tennessee, Iowa State. Now, Purdue, I told y'all Purdue is never a bad team, and Purdue tends to sneak their way in there, and they did just that. Alabama has been playing really well. Iowa State, I actually had them in the Sweet 16, so yeah, there's that. I had Duke, St. John. Ooh, so I had the first two good. Louisville, I don't know what happened there. Okay? But then I had UConn. I had, my next two was absolutely wrong. Vandy, Florida. Illinois is up there. Okay? Houston, Arizona, Arkansas. I did have Gonzaga there, but, they got cooked. Purdue, Michigan, Alabama. I said that if Tennessee showed up, Tennessee was going to beat Virginia. And I said Tennessee. And then I had Iowa State. So from there, I had 1, 2, 3 wrong. I had 3 wrong. So that's not bad. It's not bad. Remember, I had two different brackets. I had the initial bracket and I had the bracket that I thought was going to happen. Because I even have in my notes here. I did have it there. Had it there. As I thought that Florida was going to do much better. They did not. And UNC, I don't know what happened to UNC. They just fell apart. They fell apart hard. Real bad. But I knew if Tennessee could lock in, they could beat Florida. I knew that Purdue, I even said here, I said Purdue beats Gonzaga. I said that. So I don't know why I thought in my state of delusion, I think maybe I had it's cool. I did say Purdue was going to beat Gonzaga. I just knew Purdue was going to do its thing. And then Arkansas can very well beat Arizona. So I may be crazy for saying that, but I do believe and I do feel that if Arkansas shows up and plays like they've been playing, I definitely think that they can beat them. I think it can go to down to the wire, like how it did in the UNC game, how it did in the Iowa Florida game. I think it has the potential to do that. I feel that within my mind, body, and soul. Okay? That's what I feel. And then, Elite 8, I still can't believe that Florida messed up my whole bracket. Just blew the bracket just out the water. Blew it out the water. But, that's basketball and that's March Madness for you. How is your brackets doing? Did your bracket survive? Is your bracket blown? Did your Sweet 16 looking good? Like what, what happened? Okay? I did say that Houston usually is a good tournament team, but it's somewhere in between the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8 where they usually just blow a gasket. So I'm gonna wait to see before I give another pass of judgment there. But I feel like they definitely could be, the way that they showed up last game, we definitely could beat Illinois. And at this point, Iowa could just beat everybody. Clearly. I'm really rooting for St. John. So I hope that it's St. John, UConn, Iowa, Houston, Arkansas, Texas. I don't know about this Michigan and Alabama game, but I'm going to say Michigan. I'm going to say Tennessee because I feel like I can't go against the Vols. I don't know. They blew it. This is where they blew it last time. Or was it Elite 8? Somewhere in there. They started to collapse. So they just like Houston. They just collapse out of nowhere. You just be like, what is happening? Hello? But we shall see. All right, moving on from the men. I think that the men's games have been good, especially with this. But the women, the Cinderella stories that's been happening with the women. Did you guys know that the women actually couldn't use the terminology March Madness until 2022? And ever since 2022, there's been a huge escalation in brackets. And that's obviously because, it was introduced in 2022. And then over time, it just builds. That's what happens. You got to give things time. And since then, that's just like what they have been doing. And it's just phenomenal. Phenomenal. My mother's calling me. I'm streaming.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I just needed to talk. But okay, call me back.
Okay. Okay. Mama call you always gotta answer chair. Boom. So women's bracket. I don't like the way that this is what irritates me. And I'm being honest with you guys. I'm just gonna be honest and just say it. I wish that I would get the same type of graphics and type of this is quality. This is quality. Okay? Hear me out. This is quality. It's fantastic. However, you see the way I threw the men's up and just the one graphic? This one was broken into two. And I understand, wanting to be a little bit different and everything, but it's great when I can just see it all as one. Especially this is from the actual the NCAA March Madness WBP Instagram account. I screenshotted it from there. It would have been great if we would have had one graphic and then you swipe and then you see that one and you swipe again and you see that one the third one. That would have been absolutely phenomenal because then it would have allowed people that are like me who want to see one graphic the way I just did the men's. It would allow us to see it like that. That's just me though. I don't know if everybody else is like that, but that's just me. I feel like there's certain things that the men do really, really well that it's okay to do it too. Which is my opinion. Because then you'll do it better. This graphic to me looks better, but I would have loved to have it on one graphic. But anyway, moving into the Sweet 16, we have UConn, North Carolina, Notre Dame, Vandy, South Carolina, Oklahoma, TCU, Virginia. Talk about a Cinderella story with Virginia. Oh, talk about a Cinderella story with Virginia. Kamora Johnson? Hello. Doing what needs to be done. Period. And I love what she said. We're not playing for the seed. We're not playing for seeding. We're playing that we wear jerseys, they wear jerseys. You got to leave it out on the court. We're playing basketball. May the best team win the game. Period. Okay, so obviously, they were not on my Sweet 16 bracket. They weren't. I ain't gonna hold y'all. They weren't. I did have them get it out the first round. I did have them getting past and getting out of the first round into the second round. So I did have them that far. I did not think that they were going to beat Iowa, though. I just didn't because I was like, there's no way that Caitlin Clark's Iowa. Yeah. It was just in my mind. But I didn't see that happening. But it happened. So, there's that. Okay. Caitlin might need to go back and help the girls out with a little clinic or something. They played excelente though. Double OT. I know them girls was tired. Because I was tired from when I looked up and I'm like, okay, good. The game's in the fourth quarter. Going back to my little work. I looked up again. Oh, game's in overtime. Okay. I'm like, I know this game should be over. I flipped to see something else. I flipped back. It was double OT. That's March Madness for you. Okay. That's basketball that we love. Huzzah. For my Sweet 16, I had UConn, UNC, Notre Dame, Vandy, South Carolina, Oklahoma, TCU, Iowa, which is now Virginia, UCLA, Ole Miss, Duke, LSU, Texas, Kentucky, Louisville, Michigan. So everybody, I think I got maybe two wrong. I think I got two wrong because where's the other women at? Hold on, y'all. The other women's bracket's right here. It's not enough space for me for all of us to be on here. We're all in this together. If you know, you know. So here's the other part of the bracket. So looking at it, Minnesota, they have Minnesota there. So I did not. So Minnesota and that's it. Minnesota and Virginia were the two because Minnesota beat Ole Miss. This was supposed to. That was supposed to be Ole Miss. That's all I'm going to say there. That was supposed to be Ole Miss. I love me some Coach Yo. I'm not saying that it was supposed to be Ole Miss because I love Coach Yo. What I'm saying is that was supposed to be Ole Miss. And we don't have Ole Miss there. We have Minnesota. But in this first bracket, you have Fort Worth 1 and you see Sacramento 4. The way the women do it, they have the two different regions, and obviously they split it in half. So we're going to see in Fort Worth, it's going to be UConn versus UNC, and I think that's going to be UNC's final game. Notre Dame versus Vandy. Now, I did say that Notre Dame was going to beat Vandy, and right now, I don't know, because Vanderbilt's had a special season. The football team, to the basketball team, to the women's basketball team, like, they have just had a very special year, and it's like, for them to be always considered like the med school, you know, they have just turned things around in terms of sports. They've really turned their school into a sports school. So that right there to me is going to be the best game, and I get to see it in person. I'm so excited! So, oh my god! So anyway, try to keep my excitement under wraps. But to me, that's going to be the best game in my opinion out of the Sweet 16. Obviously, the South Carolina Oklahoma rematch is also going to be super duper great. Seeing Raven Johnson, Joyce, Tessa, who can guard Tessa. Who can guard? You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's going to be a really good game, too, because it's just naturally a good game. It's just a rematch there. And TCU and Virginia, all of it's good. All of it's good. All of it's good. Because Virginia, the way that Virginia has played in this tournament, they can definitely beat TCU. Kamora Johnson and what they've been doing is just one of those things where they're already fired up and they already were playing for, like, they're already playing from behind. You get what I'm saying? Because everybody had them lower ranked. They had them, you know, low totem pole. And now they just came and they're making a splash and they're putting it there. Like, their slogan is, we know. and did. Because at the ACC tournament, coach sat in front of that microphone at postgame and was like, I need y'all to know that we are a tournament team. We have faced so much adversity. We have overcome so many different things, and we know who we are. We know what we can do. We know what we can produce. We know we can compete, and we can stand with the best of them. We know that we can do it. Squabble up. And that's what Virginia has been doing. It makes me so excited. Can y'all tell how excited I am? I'm so freaking excited. So excited. Okay. So excited. Okay, anyway. Okay, so that's the first side of the bracket. And then the second side of the bracket, which I already showed y'all before, we're going to blow it up because, you know, we're going to give them the same treatment. Okay? And then on the other side, you have UCLA playing Minnesota. I don't think that Minnesota, if they could not take the intensity of Ole Miss, I don't think they're going to be able to take the intensity of UCLA. Because those were the comments that were made. You know? And you know what I didn't like either? I didn't like how the young lady was in the post-game presser. And the guy asked her about drawing the foul. And she was like, you know, I didn't know. I didn't think I could draw the foul. So I just failed and said, we'll see what happens. And because she failed, that's when Coty got the foul assessed to her. It wasn't a foul because the girl never... We got to do better. Okay, I'm going to leave it alone. I'm getting riled up. We're going to leave it alone. Duke in LSU. This is where I said that Duke was going to have an exit. This is where I said it. LSU has been putting up consistently 100 plus games for the past 2 rounds. They have been hanging it to them. LSU is kind of one of those teams where it's like y'all like legit was counting us out. You didn't have us in the top four for real in that conversation. And even though they're sitting here at 2, but like really when people were talking about it, it was like no, all they talked about was UConn and UCLA and maybe South Carolina, because the last time that South Carolina lost the SEC tournament, they came run and won the national championship. They beat UConn. So like the whole thing is like, that's all they keep talking about. And then, talking about Texas, because Texas won the SEC. So obviously they're sitting at the top. They're like creme de la creme. And LSU has really been nowhere in the conversation. And LSU has been coming in like, okay, we don't have to be a part of the conversation, but we're going to make ourselves a part of the conversation. And we're going to make you regret not looking at us. We're going to make you regret not picking us. We're going to make you regret all of those things and all the things that you were saying, because I guarantee you that we are worthy of being in that top 4 conversation. And that's really what they've been doing. And I feel like at that point, I think that Duke is going to have an exit out here. And, I love Coach Lawson. I love a lot of the girls over there that I've gotten to see play in person and really see what they're doing. They have such a balanced and cohesive team. Manpower is there. Fournay, Mayer, Jackson, like so many just beautiful players over there in terms of their sport and their skill set. But I just think that LSU comes with a different level of tenacity and fierceness. And I mean this in the best way when I say ferociousness, of where they're going to roar, and they've been roaring since Flage's last year. She's trying to, knock it out the park. So I have them on my Elite 8. I've said that from the very beginning that I did. So UConn, Notre Dame, South Carolina, Iowa. Iowa's not there anymore. So yeah, they're not there. Whatever. UCLA, LSU, Texas, and I had Louisville. Louisville is also one of those teams where if they put enough bark in their bite, they can definitely do it. The SEC has 6 teams coming into the Sweet 16, and the ACC has 5. So the likelihood that the winner is going to be either SEC or ACC is highly likely. Highly like the probabilities are sitting up there, right? So I mean, that's just what it's looking like. They're all playing well, and I'll get to see Texas and Kentucky, Louisville and Michigan. And I love seeing Louisville play. I said this before when they were at ACC. I like seeing Louisville play. I like seeing what they got going on, what they do. Yeah, sorry. I fixed my hair. I never seen Michigan play in person, so I get to see that. That's wonderful. And I get to see Texas, so I get to sit across from Coach Carter and see what she's going to be wearing. This is also kind of an unfair advantage because Texas is right there in Austin. And Austin to Fort Worth, the Dallas area, is like, what, 2-3 hours? So the fans are going to come up because their men, where are their men going? I didn't write it down. Oops. But they have a huge fan base anyway. The women's basketball has a great fan base as well. So I think that they're going to have a lot of people in the stands for them. So Kentucky, they're not too far either. Kentucky travels well. But then I don't think they're going to beat Texas. Louisville, excuse me. Louisville fans travel well as well. UConn fans are going to do good. But it's definitely going to feel like a Texas home game for sure. And yeah, that's women's basketball. All right, I've been spending enough time talking about it, so we're going to transition and talk about some other things here. We are going to stay on the topic of basketball, though, because there has obviously been news and things that have been going on. So when it comes to more news in basketball, we are going to talk about the head coach, or the former head coach, Herbert Davis from UNC, has been fired. They didn't want to let him go by resignation because they didn't feel like he was going to resign. They didn't want to let him, they didn't want him at the door anymore. After they lost to VCU in that terrible way, how they blew their lead, it's being stated and told that they had like an emergency meeting with him, and then literally, it was really that day. It was really that day, but news had came out that he was going to lose his job. So he had his players and the staff over at his house, and he announced it to them at 9 p.m. that he was no longer going to be their coach. But the athletic staff had sent out an email at 8:55 p.m. and said, yeah, he's being relieved of his duties, effective immediately. You know, they are going to pay him out. His contract exceeds $5 million. So they're going to pay him out the contract. And that's how you know they want you to go, because they're like, yeah, we'll pay you out. We're going to pay you to leave right now. And I think what comes into that is it's his alma mater. So the expectation I believe that they had for him obviously was to continue the legacy of UNC basketball. Like UNC basketball is one of those legacy programs where, same thing like we were talking about LSU football, there's just a certain level of standard that it just comes when you have this program, you know? And with his first year, got him all the way to the national championship game. They did blow a lead and they lost, you know, but that was in 2022. But it's like, okay. And after that, it just collapsed. They missed the tournament in 2023. They had 2 back-to-back first-round losses to be out of the tournament, not doing well in the ACC championship, you know, losing to Clemson this year. It was like, what is happening? So everything within this team has just been collapsing really since, I would say since the 2023 season. I feel like that's when it really started to collapse. You can say that it collapsed at the national championship game in 2022, sure. But it just started to collapse. And he was there for 5 years. His record was 125-54. So yeah, it was a winning record, but it just wasn't enough. Losing these close games, blowing your leads, tiring out your players, and not rotating your bench. And really what got him fired obviously was when they lost to VCU, but the donors were pissed. The donors started to like, and that's what it's about. When your donors are mad and they're threatening, they may have allegedly, everything I'm saying is alleged. Allegedly, they're saying that there's some of the donors like, we're not paying for this. We're not paying for this. This is UNC and this is not UNC basketball that we're seeing. So we're not paying for this. It's us or him. And the athletic director was like, cut me a check. Cut the check. We'll give him his $5 million right now. If y'all cut the check, he can be gone by the morning. That's what happened. That's what happened. When they say they had an emergency meeting, he didn't get to go to his hotel room and sleep, baby. No sariba. They called him and said, bring that tail here, boy. We got something to tell you. It's important. And you would think, this is your alma mater. You know how it operates. You know how it rolls. That's just how we roll. You don't see her and said it. You know, how we roll. Out the door. Fired. Bye. Yeah, that's what happened. So good luck to him. I think he's, at least he has $5 million to figure it out. He will get a job somewhere else. He will. He just does not win in these big key games. And I don't know how you turn that around. But he'll get another job. He didn't have a losing record. I think he's, he'll be all right. Who's not going to be all right, though? Let me tell you who's not going to be all right. Aiden Holloway. Not going to be all right. Not going to be all right. So let me make the young man picture a little bit bigger since I have a little bit more space. So, child, when will you learn? When will they learn? So this is Aiden Holloway. He is we're going to say former, because he has been suspended from the team and has no team activity. He actually been removed off campus, jail. So Alabama player. He did also used to play at Auburn, so we have to throw it in there too. He was removed off campus because he was arrested on a felony arrest drug charge. And again, all this is allegedly, but you can look at it online and just type in his name and put arrest. You can see all the details that I'm about to tell you. Okay, so allegedly he had over 2 pounds of marijuana. Can I say that on here? Of the tree. I think I'm gonna say that. I don't know if I can say the other word before I got demonetized for something. So I don't know. The tree. He had over 2 pounds of it. Okay, and it is currently illegal for recreational use in the state of Alabama. Now, if you have a prescription from a doctor, fine. But if you're just recreational using it, that's illegal. And if you're selling it, even more illegal. Okay? So a part of his arrest, and then they said that they found text messages in his phone that is basically setting up the transactions, the intent to sell. And this has been a task force. So this was not something that just started. Somebody somewhere, this is my thought process. Somebody somewhere had to tell, allude to, or he was seen, and then that started the whole thing. That's what I'm gathering here. But the police said they didn't see it on his phone. This is where he messed up, though. This is where he messed up. So when he was talking to the police, obviously now he has a lawyer, right? And I need everybody. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. Shut your mouth. Don't talk until your lawyer comes. Because in your Miranda, it tells you anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. Don't say nothing. Don't even say your name. Don't even say your name. Be respectful. You do what they ask you to do, and you shut your mouth. You shut your mouth. Because what they're going to do here is say, oh, well, he was recreational using it because he admitted to the officer that he only smokes it. He admitted that he got the tree from somebody out of town. He admitted that he had a quarter pound. He admitted these things. You can't, bro, you cooked yourself. You cooked yourself. You cooked yourself. You're not going to be okay. You cannot admit these things. You cannot admit these things. Even if it's true, even if it's not true, it doesn't matter. Shut your mouth when you get arrested. Shut it. If you did it, you did it. Fine. Let your lawyer be your mouth. That would say nothing. Okay? So that's why it's gonna stick, because he admitted it. He didn't admit to the 2 pounds. He didn't admit to transactions. He didn't admit to any of that, which is great. But he still admitted to only smoking it. And he admitted it that somebody from out of town brought it to him. Bro, out of town? Now you're talking about even a even bigger thing right here. You know? Because they're going to use that against you too. He's not going to be okay. His career's over. His hearing is on April the 14th. He did bond out on a $5,000 bond, so he is not locked up right now. But he has to go through, the court process. And I don't think it's going to be on his side. I just don't. And the lawyer is coming out saying, we need concrete evidence. And my client denies everything. It's a little too late for that. Parents, if anybody's a parent and they're watching this at some point, they ever get their eyes on this, tell your kids to, heck, anybody, but train them that it doesn't matter who you are. Black, white, purple, blue. Keep your mouth shut. Ask for a lawyer. Believe your Miranda rights when you get read them. That sucks. Very unfortunate for him, because obviously most people are going to say, well, everybody smokes it. Everybody gets, no. It's not about that. It's about when you get caught, whether you did it or not, whether you get arrested, whether you did it or not, you keep your mouth shut. You don't admit to crimes. You making their job easy. You don't admit to crimes. Okay? That sucks for him. Really bad. I'm going to keep you guys posted on this. I have to go back into another episode where I'm updating you guys on all of these things. I have so many trials and so many different updates to give you guys. I got to go back through the episodes and give you the updates on what I know from these episodes. But I'm praying for this young man, really. And I just hope that he chooses better, whatever comes from it. Hopefully it's nothing major or serious. But seriously, dog, you got to do better. We got to do better. As a people, we got to do better. Anyway, moving on. The MLB opening day is approaching. So MLB and Netflix have an exclusive deal where they're going to be streaming the opening day of MLB, and it's going to be the Yankees versus the Giants. They're going to be Yankees and Giants retired players on the commentary, which I love, by the way. I think that almost all commentary should be like retirees, because they know what they're talking about most. should know what they're talking about. And they have, that type of camaraderie and just, I think it's going to be so cool. Another thing, they're trying to get some like the casual fans. They're trying to blend the worlds of Netflix and baseball together. So the hit show Wednesday, if you know about, based off the Addams Family thing, the hand from the show will be throwing the first pitch. So again, they're trying to, blend it all together. I think that's really, really cool. It would have been even better, right, had they had two teams. And I know they probably aren't thinking about this, but my marketing brain, this is why I should be hired for somebody. Call me, okay? Because my brain thinks all the time. But if you're going to have this, right, it should have been two teams. If you could have had them in like black and purple, like the Rockies, would have been perfect. Another team that has black. Even the Yankees is fine too because like the blue and the white, the stripes, the pinstripes. Oh, the pinstripes, yeah. So that could have been good, but it could have been somebody like the Rockies into like to do the whole theme. The whole theme should have been Wednesday, and it should if the opening night game was on a Wednesday. Oh my god. Do you see how it just go together? If you really want to make a theme work and make a theme pop, you gotta fully commit. But yeah, it's going to only be exclusively on Netflix. So if you're trying to watch opening game day, it ain't going to be on a regular TV. So you've been forced to get a Netflix subscription, so you should already have it. I personally don't have Netflix. I don't have it. When it got removed from off my phone bill, it wasn't included no more. I didn't get a new one. But I think, the Yankees fans is super duper heavy with fan base for those who won't be able to make it. So I think that it'll do well. It'll do well on streaming. I think we've seen the fight stream. Hopefully it's not a lot of buffering. Hopefully they figure that part out now. We're more advanced in technology. You need to call Elon or something. You need to go over there and call the engineers at Disney that get Hulu popping, that live TV. Call Jeff, because Amazon Prime that has a live TV, it be gone. So I think they need to hit up one of them people and just ask the engineers what they need to do because we don't want to see any buffering. We don't want to see the first pitch and they go do 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 and it's look like a robot. We don't want to see that. Okay, they don't want to see that. I'm not gonna watch because I don't have Netflix. So I want to share the password, sure, but I'm pretty sure they don't want to see that. But okay, I think that's pretty cool. I think it's great. The ESPN and MLB kind of severed ways, so it's not going to be like MLB Sundays anymore. So allegedly there's other stuff going on, which is going to be like the women's sports day that they have going on now. But baseball and Netflix came up with a deal. They have a 6-year deal now, so a lot of their games and stuff is going to be on Netflix. So lock and load and get ready for it because Netflix is really stepping into the sports arena, the sports realm, and they're really trying to take it over. It's going to be, at some point, it's going to be a Netflix sport like division. It's going to be a Netflix sport app. It's going to be Netflix sports, like all type of events and things. Mark my words, it is coming. Mark my words. Okay, moving on to the NFL. Before I get into the juicy stuff, the NFL juicy stuff is going to be the very last thing that we talk about because the NFL was my last set of topics for the nights. But the NFL, we're talking about going into free agency. It should be over, but it's not because you still have a lot of players, keynote players that are just still not signed, like Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, Stephon Diggs, Calais Campbell, DJ Reader, Deebo Samuels, Hassan Reddick, Joey Bosa, Cam Jordan. All these key players are just still not signed yet. They don't have a home. So they're waiting to get signed, and they're trying to see what's going to happen. Who's going to make a splash? Cam Jordan does have rumors of going to Kansas City. I think it'd be great. Hey, Cam Jordan has one hell of a fan base, and what he's done in New Orleans and for the Saints, and they love him there. I don't know what happened to what's going on with that contract. Maybe the Saints will offer him a re-sign. I don't know what's going on there. But Cam Jordan is not one of those players I would have seen leaving New Orleans. It's like I never seen Alvin Kamara leaving New Orleans. Drew Brees and all that. There's just one of those staple players within an organization I just never thought would not be in a black and gold uniform. But allegedly there's something going on there. Don't really know what's going on, but yeah. We have had some key players as we've seen. Obviously, Kenneth Walker III is now a Kansas City Chief. Michael Pittman Jr. is a Steeler. Travis Kelce decided that he's not retiring and got a new contract, got signed. So he's back. Justin Fields is a Chief because my homie is still out and, whatever that's going to be. So Okay. Okay. This is now going to be Justin's, 15 with fifth different coach? But Big Red over there. And then they got Eric back. Justin might actually see his full potential for once. I don't know. We want to see. Max Crosby was supposed to be a Raven, and then the Ravens said, no, we don't, and sent them back to the Raiders. So now he's a Raider. The Cowboys wanted him, offered him 3 times. The last offer, the Cowboys said, we'll give you a first-round pick. We'll give you a second-round pick. We want him. We want to make him a Cowboy. And I don't think he wants to be a Cowboy. I think he said he's a Raider. But before he said he was happy to be going to the Ravens. I don't know. A lot of people are saying that the Raiders fleeced the Ravens because they knew that he was going to pass that physical. The Ravens said that knee is a degenerative issue and it's going to continue to be an issue outside of just this season. And they were concerned for the future. If we're going to give up all of this, we need to make sure that you're good with us for the future. So they sent him back to the crib and brought in Trey Henderson. So Trey Henderson now has a new home in Baltimore. And Baltimore did send a player there, which they didn't get back. They did get their draft picks back, but they didn't get their player back, which was obviously something that the Raiders needed, which is why they said they fleeced the Ravens, because the Raiders knew what they were doing, allegedly. Who knows? Okay. Mike Evans is a 49er. Didn't see him leaving Tampa Bay. But yeah, Isaiah Pacheco is a Lion. Interesting. They got rid of Isaiah and picked up Kenneth. I think they won that. I'm just saying. Love Isaiah. He's a Jersey boy and I'm a Jersey kid too. So I, always support. But if you had a chance of getting Kenneth Walker the third, who only thinks about football, who eats, treats, sleeps, functions football. Yeah, we want him. Carson Wentz is a Viking. Kyler Murray ran to the Vikings. He was supposed to go on a few different visits, but he stopped. He said, I want to be here. I've been a Minnesota fan since I was a kid, and now I'm in Minnesota. But now Minnesota has a loaded QB room. It's looking a little bit like Cleveland, but we're going to see what they do. Tua turn the ball over. Tagovailoa is now going to be in Atlanta. Okay. He played it phenomenal when he was in Atlanta in the Dome. So I think, this is a great setting for him. He can play better when he at home and he's in the Dome. Y'all gonna see a different Tua. Tua gonna turn up. It's gonna be turned up Tua. Yeah. Geno Smith is a Jet. And NFL draft is going to be April 23rd to the 25th in Pittsburgh. So we get to see what rookies are going to be going to these teams. Anyway, moving on. Last topic of the night. Ooh, poor Gino. All right. So the NFL is in a lawsuit. Okay. Again, another one. And another one. Do you feel like you've been addicted to gambling? Do you feel like you just have to gamble? You can't say no. You always got to put in the micro betting. And they say, is the next play going to be a pass or a run? Do you do those micro bets? During Super Bowl, they had a lot of them. They're like, which company is going to be seen in the Super Bowl? Which player is going to be the first? A couple games throughout the season was like, are you going to see a cheese hat, or are you going to see something else? Like those micro bettings, and they're in game, right? So allegedly, well, it ain't really alleged because it is a lawsuit, but I don't want to get sued, so I'm gonna say allegedly. This is, it's a lawsuit, and it might end up being a class action lawsuit about the addictive natures of the micro betting from the NFL. FanDuel and DraftKings are also in this lawsuit because, like the things I just noticed, just said to you all about the micro betting while it's in game. So essentially, the NFL owns or has some stake in Genius, and Genius is where they're getting their stats and when they're getting all these player odds, prop bets or whatever, and they're selling that to DraftKings and FanDuel and whatever they're doing. And they're saying that the NFL has essentially been siphoned the whole time. This whole thing has been sifted by the NFL. And I want to make sure I'm giving you the accurate actual factuals here. So I'm going to bring up the lawsuit. The lawsuit was filed in Pennsylvania state court, and it accuses the NFL, FanDuel, and DraftKings of contributing to gambling addiction and financial losses through the use of real-time betting products and data. The complaint is lodged by two plaintiffs, Christopher Sage and Terry Thompson, who allege that the companies enable and promote highly addictive forms of betting, including the in-game microbetting. The lawsuit claims that the defendants used NFL live data feeds to offer a known addictive product and created betting platforms designed to maximize engagement through real-time wagering analytics and personalized features. Attorneys for the plaintiffs argue that the apps became a relentless, always-on addiction-amplifying machine through a personalized and lightning-fast sports gambling interface, unlike anything previously sold to gambling customers. Micro betting, which allows wagers on rapid in-game events, is central to the case. It's alleging that such virally limitless array of events that occur during the course of a sporting event where the odds and wagers rapidly change as the game unfolds, right? So what it's also saying is, according to the filing, live betting accounts are roughly 50% of wagers on the platforms that are operated primarily through DraftKings and FanDuel. So, and they're, the plaintiffs are saying we have been gambling without issues for years until they started using the sports book apps. And they said all that changed once they started using FanDuel and DraftKings. And, within a few years of placing their first micro bets, they lost almost everything. Almost everything. A combined loss of more than $2 million. Thompson lost relatively $1.83 million over the years. And Sage, about $175,000. And then it says the complaint also accuses Sportsbook VIP host of encouraging continued betting through incentives such as luxury gifts, event tickets, and travel. The attorney alleged that Thompson's host knew he had demonstrated problematic behaviors because she had suggested he take breaks from betting after losing streaks. Okay. They even said they try to get one of the messages in here. The message says, what do we think about taking a time out and enjoying the holidays with the family and starting fresh after the new year? That's what she should have said something to her boss, I guess. I don't know. But they said it continued to go on and on and on and on and on. And it's just one of those hijacking products. But like I said, the Genius Sports and the NFL are, basically accused of enabling the micro betting. And again, the NFL gives the stats and the props and all that stuff to Genius. Genius then sells it and gives it to Sportsbook, DraftKings, and that's how they make their money back. And the NFL has a stake within Genius, so they're still making money regardless. They're making money by you betting, and the more you bet, the more they make, essentially. So I get it. Yes, most people are gonna be like, how you gonna blame them for your gambling problems? Your gambling problems or your gambling problems. Ain't nobody making you gamble, ain't nobody making you bet. Ain't nobody doing that thing. But I will say, as a person who's had used Prize Picks before, Prize Picks sends you notifications and everything. We got Taco Tuesday. You get the discount. You get that. So it does, and it is addictive. Gambling is addictive to some people. Okay, you're going to add that in there. To some people, it's addictive. To these men, it became addictive. They've been gambling regularly for years. And I think it gets more addictive when you have the app rightfully at your phone and you can just because they make you put money on there, first of all. And then they make you have a card or whatever you're going to use on there and everything. If you have an iPhone, you got Apple Pay or whatever. So it's like right there. Everything is right there at your fingertips. I grew up in a casino town, right? So when I was growing up, people had to literally come into the casino to place their bets. And then suddenly everything became digital, and now people are crashing out. They're crashing out because it's too convenient. It's too convenient. We can agree with that. It's too convenient. Some states don't have gambling apps. You can't use your gambling app. But in this instance, it's too convenient for some people, and it's right there at their fingertips, and is making them even more addicted. Now casinos are popping up everywhere. They're everywhere. Not only are they in Atlantic City, they're in Vegas, they're in Baltimore, they're in everywhere. They're just everywhere now. So it's just so much more accessible. Biloxi, Florida. So I see what they saying. Almost every state that I've lived in does not approve FanDuel or DraftKings, so I can't use either one of those. So I can't even join the lawsuit. Can you join the lawsuit? Let me know. But yeah, I don't know, guys. And one of my first jobs was also in the casino, and that was the thing. Like, we had a number for like gambling addicts who would like lose everything and who would literally be like down and out. And part of it was, yes, it's our responsibility in part, like, going up to them and telling people. But like, if I remember correctly, if we knew that somebody had a problem, or I think they had to come to you. But I think now with your VIP, what they're saying is the VIP host could see it. So the VIP host said something to him about his gambling addiction, but I guess you can't really force people to do anything. But if I'm not mistaken, you definitely can. I don't know. Rules have changed so much. I don't know if you can tell, but how can you tell anybody over your, over an app? I guess you can just shut it down. I guess that's just not within the laws. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. There is truth within this lawsuit. There's truth within it. How much is it going to go through? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this lawsuit can get their $2 million back. I'm not really sure. Maybe it can. I don't know if it's going to turn into a class action. It might. Because more people are going to come forward like, yes, this app made me addicted. It made me addicted. But just the way they're arguing that Facebook made people, made teenagers and children addicted and things. So the arguments now are these apps are making people addicted, but it's also kind of like, I see both sides, because I can see the part where it's like, well, where's the person's accountability? Where's their part on that? Because at this point, we're just pointing and we're saying, they made me do it. It's their fault why I'm addicted. It's their fault why I gambled away my house and my car and my 401k and my Roth RA and everything. It's their fault. But then at what point do you say, okay, I need to stop gambling. I need to delete the app. I need to no longer be a part of it. Like, at what point are we doing that? Because I think that's the part where we're missing a little bit. Can the apps make you addicted? Sure. But then at some point you have to be like, I'm stepping back. I'm going to get myself some help, and I'm not going to do this anymore. Like, how much more money do you have to lose in order for you to be like, we need to stop this? But again, my brain doesn't think like that because I'm not addicted to gambling. That's not me. So I don't know how your brain kind of functions on that. I joke and say I'm addicted to coffee, but I can go days without having coffee, and I might get a migraine, but I'm not, going to spend my last dollar on a coffee. So I don't know how that works necessarily, but I sympathize for them, because losing almost everything is really catastrophic, and that's really bad, and that it happens to people more often than we think. I hope they can get some help and get some accountability, because if they win this lawsuit, are they going to go back to gambling? Are the apps going to ban them forever? Like, how is it going to happen to where they can get their lives back on track? Are they going to go to Gamblers Anonymous? Like, what, I got to keep tabs on this one too to figure it out. But it's messy. Okay. The NFL is messy. The NFL is in it. In it. They in it. So we shall see. All right. That is my last topic of the night. I've been on here long enough. Y'all know I've been away for a minute, so I get to chatting and I get to talking, and I love being on here. Please make sure you like and share and subscribe on all social media platforms at PG Love Sports. Okay. I love you guys. Thank you for being on here, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.